What's up, my people? This is the perfect time for some motivation. And I'm gonna get out some things that I just can't stand. But first, look up. That's right. It's cloudy. Thunderstorm. Look like it's about to pour down rain at any minute. You can see the lightning flash and you can hear the thunder roar. That's how life is. I'm here to tell you that's how life is. But when you see these thunderstorms and these clouds, just remember, they come and they go. But the sun always gonna shine. You're gonna always hear the birds chirping, and you always gonna see the sun just beaming straight down. See, that sunshine hit different when you done went through something. That sunshine hit different when you know for a fact that you've been surrounded by tornadoes, hurricanes, tsunamis, earthquakes, all things that you can imagine Mother Nature throwing at you. That sunshine hit different. So I'm here to tell y'all to keep pushing, because there's going to be days like this. It's going to be days like this where you're going to see the rain. It's going to be days like this where you just going to see the floods coming, where you're just going to see all these things happening to you. And you ain't going to have the National Guard to come save you from the natural disaster. You're going to have to save yourself. You're going to have to make sure that you can have those that's in your corner to help you out too. But at the end of the day, it's all on you. It's all on you. But getting into what I really want to talk about, I can't vibe with spoiled and privileged people. Because see, like myself, where I come from, I wasn't handed inheritances. I didn't have people look out for me when it comes down to it to make sure that I had my future secure. No, I had to get out there and I had to earn it. And when I get out there and earn it, I realized the almighty power of a dollar. To know that you got an earned dollar. For that mindset, it changes the whole game for me. But for those people out there that's just gotten those things handed to them, that just got the opportunity to have their future already secure, but others like myself had to make sure that we had to work for damn near everything we got. The spoiled and privileged people just don't understand how blessed they really are if you really look at it. They should be thankful and blessed instead of spoiled and privileged. They need to flip those two around, because when it comes down to it about being privileged is being able to avoid those pitfalls that somebody like myself that had to work for everything and started from zero, they can't avoid. Like some days you got to give it your all. You don't know where your next paycheck coming from if you like me. You don't know when it comes down to it that you live from check to check. You don't know what's going to happen. You got to make sure that you got to manage. You got to stretch a dollar. You got to make sure that you can do everything you can to put food on the table. Not just for yourself, but if you got a family, if you got kids, you got to make sure you look out for them too. Some days you got to go and you got to starve. Some days you got to make sure that everything that you do, you got to sacrifice yourself for your kids. But you got no backup though. But those same spoiled and privileged people, they look down. They can't relate. They don't understand. How can they? Because they never had to go through those. They were steered clear by everything that was put in their way by their ancestors. Their ancestors basically allowed them to stand on their shoulders and say, hey, I don't want you to do what I had to do. And I ain't got no problem against it, because hell, I would do the same thing for my legacy, for my people. But at the end of the day, it's all about how you perceive things. Because see, some spoiled and privileged people, they do things to get a reaction out of people. You understand what I'm saying? And then when you get a reaction, they make it seem like, well, I didn't know. Well, golly, by George, I didn't know I was doing that. It's not just the white folks. You got some spoiled and privileged black folks as well, too. And I'm just here to tell each and every one, don't be like that, man, because when it comes down to it, you know exactly where your blessings really come from. You know exactly that at the flip of a dime, your life can be turned upside down because we live in the spur of a moment. That's the life we live. That's the life we've always lived. So be careful. Be careful how you live your life, spoiled and privileged people, because I'm here to tell you that at the end of the day, the person who you may not try to help, the person who you try to look down, the person who you just want to sip your glass in front of, that might be the same person that end up with more than you one day. That might be the same person that might have to throw you a bone one day. That might be the same person that you go meet on the way up, and the same person you meet coming back down. But you guys just got to understand, man. If you look at being spoiled and privileged means that you entitled, you've already lost half the battle. You already lost half the battle, because guess what? The other half means I don't know what it's like to truly be a blessing to somebody. I don't know what it's like to truly understand what I have. And when it comes down to it, everybody needs to understand that this is something that we all must come to grips with. We all must come to grips as the type of person we want to be in life. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear this because it's the truth. But hey, when it comes down to it, I know 10 times more people that would love to hear it. But this was just burning on the inside of me, because I'm pretty sure I ain't the only one that knows some spoiled and privileged people that act like when it comes down to it, they don't know exactly, they know what the fuck they be doing. They know what the fuck they be doing. They just make it seem like, oh, well, if you can't take what's going on, then you don't need to be around me. And this is what really, really gets under my skin. Them same privileged folks, they basically want to make it seem like for those that basically had to work for some time. Oh, I know what it's like to work. Oh, I had to work for this and da-da-da-da-da. Oh, I've been on my own since, 17? And you got, 300 grand passed down to you or some shit? Like, bruh, you doing that because you choose to. What if you ain't had that 300 grand passed down from your ancestors or from your dad or from your aunts or from somebody? What if you ain't had that to fall back on? What if you had to do everything by force instead of choice? See, that's something they need to look at. See, they didn't have to do it by force. They had to do it by choice, because they didn't want to be seen like a spoiled little rich girl or a spoiled little rich boy. So they want to choose to, walk around with their whole chest out. Yeah, I understand what it's like. I work too. And everything. But once again, do you understand the power of you truly, truly having to do something? Once again, can you relate? And the answer is no. So when somebody basically looks at you and sees you doing something that's snoodily and act like you got your nose turned up, oh, trust me, they not saying it just to hear themselves talk. They saying it because that's actually what the hell you doing. So if I were you, I'd make sure that I do everything that I can to not be like that. Because like I said, you just don't know. That can really, really turn your life upside down. And it can draw a lot of people away from you, and it can draw you a lot of enemies. Trust me. But that's just something I had to get off my chest. I want y'all to take that, and I want y'all to let that manifest. Because at the end of the day, motivation ain't nothing but motivation. Truth ain't nothing but truth. Intelligence ain't nothing but intelligence. And don't be afraid to say things that you know for a fact that needs to be said. And sometimes you can't say things in a nice way. Sometimes you can't say things cuss-free. Sometimes you just got to keep it straight down the middle, straight 100, straight from the hip, straight from the streets. Because that's when it's most felt. And when it comes down to it, speak from experience. If you're speaking from an experience, then everybody will know for a fact that that's from the heart. If you just speaking on some random bullshit, just because you heard your homeboy say it, or somebody that you seen on TV say it, like, once again, you don't know their struggles. You don't know their life. Their life was probably way worse than yours. Their life was probably not even worse than yours. But at the end of the day, each and everybody says things because some people can relate to it. And they can relate to it. But y'all take that. Y'all let that be known. Y'all let this word be sitting in your hearts, in your minds. And I hope that this makes a whole lot of difference, because the things going on in this world, we need some truth. We need some truth. We don't got too much enough truth. So I'm going to let that marinate. Peace out. I love y'all. I'm always keep it real with y'all. One.